Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. Time for the mess here. Apparently, Gavin Newsom's wife, in an interview, stated that she doesn't mind giving her son, she literally gives her sons baby dolls to play with, even if they tear the heads off the baby dolls. And when she's reading stories, I guess bedtime stories, she gender swaps, So if it was if the story is referring to a male, she gives it a female name, and if the story is referring to a female, she gives a female a male pronoun, not a name, switches the pronouns up because she wants her sons to think of things neutrally. Let's get right into this, because when I read this article, it just hurt my heart. It hurt my heart because a lot of the confusion comes from what a lot of these parents are telling their children. When it comes to these children, a lot of the confusion in their minds comes from confused, twisted, dark minds of their parents. Let's get right into this. And before I go any further, I will say this, that this particular article is an opinion piece. So some of the words by the writer of the article will come off as an opinion. So I just want you guys to know that. But I'm going to give my opinion of it, obviously, but I'm just letting you know this is an opinion piece. The First Lady of the failed state of California, Jennifer Lynn, prefers the term, quote, first partner to be gender inclusive, and has admitted that things are going on in the Newsom household that might warrant a visit from social services. Of course, this is this person's opinion, okay, but let's get right into this. And by the way, I'm going to try, let's see if you guys can listen in on what she actually said. Now, you can't see it here, but this is her apparently. And let's get right into this.
Dolls, even if they tear the head off, I've given them dolls to learn that care and caregiving is not just an activity that's reserved for women, but that it's also an activity that is a responsibility of men. What I've done with both my daughters and my sons is, if I'm reading a book and the protagonist is a male, I just change the he to a she. And it just normalizes for my sons in particular. I don't even just do it for my girls. I do it for my sons because I want them to see that women can be the center of a story, that women matter, that women are interesting.
Oh my God.
At the end of the day, we're all kind of like in this place in...
I don't want to hear any more for that. And did you hear what she said? Obviously, you heard that. You heard what she said. I don't even want to read the rest of that to you because you get the gist of it. Let me see what else she has to say here. She has something else to say too, I believe. This is in 2023, though. Okay, so this is a little older, obviously.
You took your 4 kids on this trip. You're here in Alabama now. Why was it important to you to take them on this trip to red states and learn about the history in our country?
That's a great question. Well, I don't think, or I know for a fact, that we don't get all of this history in our schools. And it's part of, enlivening them, building their curiosity, expanding their hearts, their empathy, so that they themselves can be the change they wish to see in the world, and recognize that, we have work to do and that we have healing to do. And so...
Shut up, man. Golly, Lord have mercy. Speak with authority. My God, I don't even know what that was about. I hadn't listened to that second video. I listened to the first one, audio clip, but I didn't listen to the second one, so I didn't know really what she was going to say on that one. And my apologies, I should have. I figured she was going to say something in line with the one she said just recently, but that was from 2023. But she wasn't saying anything there, so just disregard that. But anyway, I just want to respond to what she said here about, her sons and giving them these baby dolls and so forth. This is really, really disturbing. As I said, a lot of the confusion, in the way I see it, with a lot of our young people, it's in part, it's not just the movies that they're watching and the songs that they're listening to. That's part of it. It's not just the school teachers. It's also the parents, because I think the parents can be a guardian against a lot of the corruption that these children are listening to in terms of the music and the movies and so forth, and what a lot of these so-called school teachers are teaching them. I think that if the parents have a strong moral basis, that they could guard their children to a large extent from a lot of the corruption that they see around them and hear around them. But when you have parents like Gavin Newsom's wife, it would be a miracle for her children to grow up with any form of sanity. If her children, if her boys grow up into men, true men, not simps, but true men. I'm gonna get on the simping part in a minute when it comes to Gavin Newsom. But if her children grow up and not become simps and these passive, weak men that I would guess they would eventually become, it would be a miracle. Because for her to do what she's doing is clearly, in my opinion, psychological abuse. At the very least, psychological abuse. You are confusing these young boys. But then again, when you have far left radical views like that, it makes sense. It makes sense because the worldviews of radicals, okay, in any realm, whether it be the right or the left, but in this particular instance, it's the left. Okay. The radical left, their worldviews are so corrupt and so twisted that if a parent was on that side of the spectrum, it would make sense. It would make sense for them to push that kind of nonsense on their children. Number one, this shows me, in my opinion, that she don't really love her children. She really doesn't. Now, you can stretch that and say, well, there's abuse, but I'm not going to get into that. I already made my statement that that is psychological abuse. At the very least, psychologically, in my opinion. But to me, you don't love your children. You do not love your sons. You do not love, and to say something stupid like I want my children, sons and daughters, to by changing up the characters in the story and changing the he to she and all this kind of stuff because you want your children and your men to know that women are important and they're this and they're that. And if you notice, no one was clapping. What kind of audience was she talking to? Because didn't no one clap? Didn't no one pause? Whatever. I don't know if she was sitting on a chair talking and being interviewed and talking with a microphone and looked like some kind of auditorium she was in, but no one was clapping. No one was peeing and hawing, which makes me think that they're listening to her like, what are you talking about? Are you insane? Well, this is Gavin Newsom. This is y'all governor's wife. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this is what you wanted. Okay. But her doing this, saying this type of stuff towards the children, talking about something, I want to change up the genders because I want them to recognize that women are important and all this type of stuff. If you want women to be recognized as important in society and their worth, their worthy and all the rest, you don't have to take a story and twist it to mean something it don't mean. All you need to do is simple. It's common sense. Go to a library or somewhere, look up information that's exclusive for women, women's accomplishments and so forth, and then read that to them and show them these are things that a lot of women have accomplished in this country and in the world, and this is them right here. You don't have to take a story that has both male and female in it and then twist the genders around to try to focus only on the females, to try to prove how important females are. This is a twisted way of thinking. It's a twisted, disgusting way of thinking. And I'm praying for these children of hers that they will grow up with some sense of sanity. Because clearly what she's doing, in my opinion, is psychological abuse. Okay? Now, getting with the situation with Gavin Newsom and the simping. To me, he's clearly simping. And what I mean is this. One would say, well, okay, Mr. Boland, how do you know that he's simping? Perhaps he talked to her about it, and she didn't want to adhere to what he had to say. I don't think so. Because Gavin Newsom has them far left radical views as well. So I'm pretty sure he's in alignment with that. And because of that, he's a simp. Whatever you say, dear, I think it's cool. That's a simp. Whatever you say, dear, yes, dear, instead of being a man and standing up against what she said, say, no, dear, that I don't agree with that. I don't want you teaching our children that. Okay, I don't want you doing that. Well, I don't care what you want. Well, let's go to divorce court because I'm not going through this hell. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. We're not going to even go through it. At the very least, and I don't push a divorce, but ain't no way. Ain't no way on God's green earth. No. So in my opinion, he's simping. He should have said something. He should have said something about this. I don't think he did. I don't think this is anything new on the part of his wife. They both have the same worldviews. And because they both have the same worldviews, Gavin Newsom have simped. He didn't acquiesce it. Gavin Newsom is the kind of man that I would say would be if it would be similar to Adam in the book of Genesis. Now you may be asking, what are you talking about, Bolin? What are you talking about, Ryan? What are you talking about, Adam? What's the comparison? Well, God gave the law to Adam. God gave the word to Adam first. He created Adam first. And then told him, don't eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat thereof, you shall surely die. Then God created Eve. One can infer that Adam passed this word that God gave to him on to Eve. But we read later in the Genesis narrative that Eve walking around in the garden, and then the serpent comes to her and tempts her to eat from the tree, the forbidden fruit from the tree and so forth. And then she eats it. She takes it and she eats it. And then the script and then the narrative says, and she gave with her husband who was with her, and he ate. What that at least implies, at the very least, was that Adam was right there, walking right behind her or side by her. And rather than Adam say, Eve, God told us not to eat from that tree. If we do, we're going to die, dear. We shouldn't eat from the tree. It is clearly evident that Adam didn't say anything when he was given the word at the beginning. In other words, Adam simped out. That's what Gavin Newsom is to me. He's like another Adam. He won't say anything. He won't make a correction towards his wife because, hey, this is all about women and this is the Me Too movement, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do anything to say anything to my wife because she's so important. She's a female. She's so important. She's elevated above everything else. Nonsense. First of all, you're married to the woman, bro. You mean to tell me you don't have any voice? You don't have any say-so? But then again, if you have the same worldviews, then you would probably be into psychological abuse as well. So at that point, it don't even matter. But on a purely, strictly logical point of view, don't you think, bro, that you should have the right in your own home as a man or a supposed man to say, no, that's not what we're going to do there, and stand on what you believe, stand on your standards, stand on your belief systems. And if she don't like it, hey, tough. I don't see any evidence of that. None whatsoever with Gavin Newsom. And like I said, he's not mentioned in here, but I'm just implying, obviously he's not mentioned. I'm not saying this is exactly what happened, but I'm just guessing that this might have been the situation with him, that he's simping. Because you gave your sons baby dolls and they tore their heads off and all this kind of stuff. When I was coming up, let me start wrapping this up. When I was coming up, I remember my younger sister, God rest her soul, she passed away in 2018. I remember when we were coming up, she would have her little baby doll, her Barbie doll. Ken dolls, Barbie dolls, and so forth. And I don't remember her having baby dolls. I don't remember her having any baby dolls. She may have had baby dolls. And I remember we used to play together. Me and my sister used to play house together in terms of, we play house together. We play. I would have the Ken doll. Obviously, she would have the Barbie doll and so forth. We play house together and everything. But I clearly knew without someone necessarily telling me that Ken is a male, Barbie is a female. I'm going to play with the Ken doll. My sister's going to play with the Barbie doll. She's going to play with the female doll. And we both clearly knew the gender differences. See, what Gavin Newsom's wife was trying to do is mix up the genders, confuse the genders, gender neutrality. Okay. by raising your sons with this gender neutrality stuff, you're confusing them. I knew innately at that time that this was a male doll and this was a female doll because they both looked different. So I knew. And nobody necessarily have to tell me, okay? But when you tell me these things, what's my point? My point is this. Let's assume, and I'm pretty much, I can assume that Gavin Newsom's wife's sons know the difference between a male doll and a female doll, whether it's baby dolls or whatever, okay? But when you have a parent chiding in and saying, no, we're going to change it up, this is a he and this is a she and all of this kind of stuff, it confuses their young, fragile minds. Because after all, this is mom telling me this. After all, this is dad telling me this. And they're my parents, so they must be right. This is sick and disgusting. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be overlooked on the mainstream liberal media that supports this kind of worldview. See, whether one is on the right or whether one is on the left is null and void at this point. People say, well, that's just a conservative talking point. No, it's not a conservative talking point. It's a dealing with reality. It's dealing with facts. It has nothing to do with conservatism and liberty. It has to do with facts and reality and what's right and what's wrong. That's what it has to do with. Ain't no conservative talking point. This is disgusting. But this is the mindset, unfortunately, that a lot of parents have in this country. And part of the reason why so many of our children are confused is because of bad parenting. But that's okay. Judgment Day is coming for those parents. So that's what I had to say about this. What do you guys think about this? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all and see you again.